Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has suspended all foreign trips by government officials, including himself and his cabinet minister. So, fellas, as you can see, this is a very drastic move by the president of Malawi. The country is going through some hurdles in terms of finances. Things are not really well. And he's taken some very serious measures right here. So, no government official will travel out of Malawi anymore. And obviously, as you can imagine, government officials travel in the most expensive way possible. The country is going through difficulties in terms of finances. You know, many African countries go to World Bank and IMF asking for money, asking for money for construction. And very rarely they use the money for construction anyway. Because most times in many African countries, they will ask for money to construct schools and hospitals. Then they end up building their own villas and stuff. I'm not saying that's the case of Malawi. I'm saying in most countries in Africa. Now, Malawi has to come up with a solution to try curb this pressure. Let's listen to him. We're going to make a comment right after. Let's go.
I know that there will be some who created this mess that I'm now cleaning up, who will be the loudest in calling me names, claiming that I am the problem, and calling on citizens to attack me. But I'm not intimidated by that. I'm here to serve Malawians. And to do so, I'm prepared to do things that are painful as long as they are the right things. The most painful thing by far has been the recent devaluation of our currency to correct the false value of the kwacha based on nothing and rebuild true value in the kwacha based on production of exports. I know that this decision has caused a lot of pain, and I know that all of us now have to make big adjustments in spending so that we can prioritize those areas that are most productive and stay the course until our economy becomes productive and profitable again. In making those painful adjustments, I myself have to lead by example. This is why, effective immediately, all of my international trips between now and the end of the fiscal year, beginning with my trip to COP28 at the end of this month, are canceled. By extension, I'm putting a freeze on all public-funded international trips for all public officers at all levels, including those in parastatals, until the end of the financial year in March. In fact, all cabinet members currently abroad on public-funded trips must return to Malawi with immediate effect. Any travel deemed absolutely necessary by anyone during that period must be submitted to my office for my personal authorization. Secondly, I order that all fuel entitlements for cabinet ministers, principal secretaries, directors, and all members of senior management of public institutions should be cut in half with immediate effect. Thirdly, until further notice, I order the Secretary, the President, and Cabinet to circulate to all public institutions a criteria for local trainings and local travel that will be acceptable, as well as a cap on how much of their budgets can be spent on allowances for such trainings and trips. By doing this, I am effectively ending the practice of draining public coffers to spend on allowances for useless activities.
Interesting. Malawian president sounds American. Did he study in America or something? Anyway, okay. So, we were all wondering why Malawi, recently we made a video talking about how Malawi, the president and his people have sent youngsters, young Malawian, to Israel, to go and work in farms. In return, they got $60 million. Just $60 million. You remember? We were not happy about that. We were like, why? I think, are we getting our answer? Was it because Malawi is going through a very difficult time right now? They needed the money so bad that they had to send the kids to Israel. Okay, anyway, let's follow again what he had to say. And we're going to comment on top of him. Let's go.
I know that there will be some who created this mess.
Okay, president doesn't want to be blamed. Okay, who created this mess? They're going to blame me for that.
That I'm now cleaning up, who will be the loudest in calling me names, claiming that I am the problem, and calling on citizens to attack me. But I'm not intimidated by that.
He's not intimidated.
I'm here to serve Malawians. And to do so, I'm prepared to do things that are painful as long as they are the right things.
The things are going to be painful, fellas. Painful stuff. No more traveling, no more... Let's just follow.
The most painful thing by far has been the recent devaluation of our currency to correct the false value of the kwacha based on nothing and rebuild true value in the kwacha.
So Malawi had to devaluate, the government had to devaluate the currency in order to give the currency an opportunity. They've devaluated it already two times because, things are not well. The system in which we operate is not okay. The system that we operate on is a Western system. And you think they created a system so you could become rich and happy? No, it wasn't made for you.
Based on production of exports. I know that this decision has caused a lot of pain. And I know.
The decision to cut the cost has caused a lot of pain to you.
That all of us now have to make big adjustments in spending.
You know what I mean? They have to negotiate with politicians to make adjustment for spending. Like I always say, in Africa, one of the best ways or the quickest way to become rich, you either go to politics or you start a church. No, I'm just telling the truth. Okay? You want to make money, you either go to politics or you start a church. That's why you have a lot of politicians in Africa. Everybody want to be a politician. The Democratic Republic of Congo, they're running elections, for MPs. And they have over 20,000 candidates. 20,000 people want to be MPs because they earn about $21,000. So that's good fun for the family. Anyway, let's get back to Malawi.
So that we can prioritize those areas that are most productive and stay the course until our economy becomes productive and profitable again. In making those painful adjustments, I myself have to lead by example. This is why, effective immediately, all of my international trips between now and the end of the fiscal year, beginning with my trip to COP28 at the end of this month, are canceled.
No more traveling.
By extension, I'm putting a freeze on all public-funded international trips for all public officers at all levels.
All public officers will not travel anymore. One of the, perks of being a politician in Africa is the opportunity to travel at will, going wherever you want, paid by the government. Some of these people just go, like you see an official going for an actual mission, being accompanied by 10 to 12 or even sometimes 30 advisors. Yeah. You see a minister traveling with 30 advisors. These advisors are there for nothing. They're just spending the money, wasting the public funds. And he says no more traveling until the end of the financial year in March next year.
Including those in parastatus until the end of the financial year in March. In fact, all cabinet members currently abroad on public-funded trips must return to Malawi.
All public members come back to Malawi. Sorry. I'm sorry. You have to come back home. Yeah.
With immediate effect. Any travel deemed
I'm sure these guys are not happy at all.
Absolutely necessary by anyone during that period must be submitted to my office for my personal authorization.
If a travel is deemed necessary, it must be submitted to the president's personal office for his personal authorization. Again, this is very similar. This reminds me of John Pombe Magufuli. John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania came up with something very similar. Okay, he cut all travel, all trips, all delegation going to different countries for no good reason. He brought it completely down. He cut off all the spending of whatever you call it, that party they had every end of the year, the independence party. You know, African countries and independence, most of them in the 1960s. And there's a date every year where they spend millions of dollars partying, drinking, celebrating their independence. Magufuli said you don't need to celebrate independence while kids of diarrhea in the street here. No, we cannot accept that. You cannot celebrate independence while we don't have road. How about we use the money we're supposed to use for Independence Party to build roads? How about that? How about we use the money to retouch hospitals that are not running appropriately? How about that? That guy did some great things, but unfortunately, guess who his enemies were? Yeah.
Secondly, I order that all fuel entitlements for cabinet ministers, principal secretaries, directors, and all members of senior management of public institutions should be cut in half with immediate effect.
So fuel will be cut in half. No more fuel for you fellas. Obviously, they're giving you free fuel and stuff. What do? You go drive around with the big cars from the governments. Sorry, no more fuel. If you want fuel, you must buy your own fuel. Yes, Mr. President, I'm okay with that.
Thirdly, until further notice, I order the Secretary, the President, and Cabinet to circulate to all public institutions.
And I can bet you some of these people sell that fuel, okay? If they give you lots of fuel you can barely use, what do you do with it? You sell it to make money. I'm just saying.
A criteria for local trainings and local travel that will be acceptable, as well as a cap on how much of their budgets can be spent on allowances for such trainings and trips. By doing this, I am effectively ending the practice of draining public coffers to spend on allowances for useless activities.
No more spending allowances on useless activities. No more. Politics is not for getting rich. If you want to be rich, fellas, start a business, not politics. No. Again, fellas, this is very touching. Because I know the president of Malawi, we questioned him quite a bit a few days ago about the trip of the young Malawians to Israel. Many people ask questions, including Malawians themselves, saying, why would you send your children in a country of war? Why would you do that? For $60 million? Now you understand, Malawi is going through a very difficult time. Okay. Before Magufuli was another president named Thomas Sankara. Very strong, very charismatic. He also lowered his own salary. Yeah. He said, I'm going to lower my own salary. He was the first president to do that. Imagine an African president lowering his own salary. He says to his member of cabinet, nobody's going to drive in a Mercedes anymore. Everybody, you don't need a big car. You do not. Everybody will drive in a small Renault. You know those Renaults? The older one will know. The one with the gear like this. The one with the gear that comes like this. Yeah, those small, he said everybody will drive in those cars. He promoted the industry of clothing of his own country. He asked his own people, go get the wheel, get the wool, work the work, do the job, create clothes, sell. You know, he got women involved in politics. Unfortunately, these type of people are not very much like, they don't survive. That's very sad. Okay, so the Malawian president has suspended all trips. No more America trips for government officials. You stay in Africa. You know, any travel deemed absolutely necessary by anyone during that period of time will be submitted to his office. And I think do you think this is the right decision? Malawi is currently battling an economic crisis that has led to fuel shortage. So Malawi is actually suffering. You know, I don't think they send those kids to Israel willingly or because they wanted to. It was an opportunity for them to drink some water. This is the second time Malawi has devaluated its currency. This is very deep, very profound. The last was in May last year. The authority battled to boost the falling foreign currency reserve. And yeah, so it's been very difficult for Malawi right now. And the president's trying to make some serious moves. Do you think this man will be understood. Okay. Do you think he's going to get the support of Malawians in order to get things back on track? Because a lot of Africans, unfortunately, come to politics to get rich. They come to politics for the pleasure, the leisure, the ability to travel for free, the ability to have, that's what it is. They don't care about you. Why do you think Africans run away from Africa trying to go to the Mediterranean? It's because the politicians are the people that think they own the country. They think it belongs to their grandfather. Yeah. And you can't say anything. If you say something, they'll throw you in jail. Do you think this man will survive this? Do you think he's making the right move? I really want to know about you. Let me know how you feel about this. No more foreign trips for government officials. No more nothing. No more fuel. Cutting off. No more fuel. No more fuel for you. Stay home. Where do you go anyway? And I want to know, those kids are back? Are they back from Israel already or what? What's the deal? We need to know. You need to give us an update. What's the deal with those kids? Are they getting paid? The $60 million is nothing more coming up? Thank you very much, fellas. Pleasure.